status is for him right now?
Yeah, that it was it was a scary moment. He was evaluated for concussion, and he's in the concussion protocol. He was at the hospital. I believe he's about to get discharged. It was yeah, that was an emotional moment. That is not part of the deal that anyone signs up for, even though you know it's a possibility in football to have something that you have to get taken off on a stretcher. Is all of his teammates, myself, we were all very very concerned. So the best news that we could get is that everything is checked out. That he didn't have anything more serious than a concussion. He'll be flying back with us here on the plane.
Tough to get back into the game after for both coaches and players after a situation like that.
Yeah, no. For me, yeah, I think a lot of people struggled. I know me personally. That's if I didn't have a job to do for the organization and the rest of the players, and I didn't have that I don't know, obligation in my mind, yeah, I would have tapped it. It's not something that is comfortable for anybody, and it was not a situation that you want for any of your players or your team in general. It's some scary stuff. I'm just glad that it worked out.
Looking at the game, tough time with your short yardage running when able to punch the ball in when you had it down to the goal line. Could have used one or two of those early in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what when you lose games to very good teams, you can always point to that. We lost the turnover battle, and we were kicking field goals as opposed to trying to score touchdowns. As on top of that, we had some third downs. Including the 3rd and 1, I think in the fourth quarter or third. There's situational football that we had been executing. We did not today, and you don't get freebies or you don't get passes in games against good teams. So that the point of that is it only means anything if you can learn from it, if you can get better from it, and that's what I'm going to be challenging the guys to do, because that's what will happen in games against good opponents if you don't take advantage of those opportunities. They win those situations and you'll lose the game.
Mike, in the midst of all of that, what was the message to the team at halftime? And obviously, even with the game kind of taking a backed up to all that, what was the message after the game for the team?
The message was that if Tua had his way, that he'd be standing here watching us play, and that we need to put forth an effort for him to because one of our teammates and our brothers has gone down. So that was beyond what everyone else was trying to do. They had expectations to come in and play pretty well, and they didn't. So tried to refocus them as best I could with that message.
Mike, what led to the determination to allow Tua to play tonight? Like, what went into all the factors to make sure that he was healthy enough to play?
What goes into every one of those decisions, that it starts with your medical staff, but then there's independent specialists that look into it too. There's an entire protocol, and then you're talking to the player as well. So probably I don't know, 5 or 6 different layers of a process and decision making, like you do with all players.
Right, but what specifically throughout all the layers of the process kind of gave you guys the confidence to say, okay, we feel like Tua is good enough to play? What specifically, from the end result of that process, led to you guys saying, okay, we feel good about it?
Him getting cleared by people, like yeah, I mean your standard operating procedure with all players in every single game.
Mike, I know you've answered previously, but it's worth asking again. Can you express with 100% certainty that Tua in last Sunday's game against Buffalo did not suffer a concussion or other head injury?
Yeah, otherwise we would have reported him having a head injury. I mean, that's why the NFL has these protocols, and there's not, like every single NFL game that is played, there's an independent specialist that specializes in the specialty of brain matter. So, yeah, for me, as long as I'm coaching here, if there's I'm not gonna fudge that whole situation. If there's any sort of inclination that someone has a concussion, they go into the concussion protocol, and it's very strict. Without, yeah, if people don't vary or stray, we don't mess with that. Never have, and as long as I'm the head coach, that will never be an issue that you guys have to worry about.
What allows him to kind of be able to fly back on the team plane? Just kind of walk us through kind of some of the things that he has to clear out the hospital, make sure that he's.
Yeah, no, I that's told to me. It's not I'm making that decision. It's more that the medical professionals that are there with him at the time deem him fit to leave, and what goes into that. I wouldn't pretend to know. I just report the news.
When you saw Tua go down in this game, and you went and saw him on the field, can you explain what you saw when you went up to him?
Yeah, no, I saw him. I saw him lay down. I saw that it looked like he had some stressors going on with the impact of the hit. And then once I got out to the field, I knew right away that this was at least a concussion. What I was worried about was other things. On top of that, obviously I was very worried about his head, but you're wanting to make sure that all things with relation to the spine and back and all that stuff, you want to make sure that's okay. But it was very clear to me from the onset that he had I didn't really know the degree of, but I knew he had a concussion. He was asking for me, and then when he saw me, I could just tell there was it wasn't the same guy that I'm used to seeing. So.
You talked about how emotional shook you and the players were. When do you think they shook that off and put it behind them, or did they?
I think that was my hope, just because I would know I knew exactly the way Tua would feel, that he'd want his guys to go and take care of business, and so I would hope at least at halftime when I'm extending that message, I think they put it past them. They went out and fought, so I think both sides of the ball and special teams didn't show any signs of just kind of being out of it. We just didn't make the plays we need to make, and like it was. And we were playing a good team that was taking advantage of opportunities that we weren't. So I think that I feel confident that they put it behind them. But it's at that point in time, you have to put it behind you, but you also have to rise to the occasion and make some plays on both sides of the ball. And I think we just weren't very complimentary like we had been in the previous weeks.
Coach, can you talk about the frustration of losing a game that you had some opportunities there and the block field goal, missed extra point, some penalties, couple interceptions.
Yeah.
It was a tight game. Defense did a lot of good things for you and
No,
in the game, but you just couldn't get over the hump.
I think that is, something that you don't want to run away from the frustration. I think that you have to experience this in some part to really go after all the little details that it takes to win NFL football games. So it's very frustrating. You feel like you wasted an opportunity to play toe-to-toe with a very good team and potentially beat them, but that's the point. It's not supposed to be easy, and if you're wanting to play teams like this on stages like this, you have to you can't do some of those things. Otherwise, you're gonna end up on this side of the stick, on the short side of the stick. But to me, it's incredibly frustrating, with good reason, and that's part of what we do in professional football. And you do one of two things with it. You either use it to make you get better, or you live with things that you can't change and get worse. So our plan is to learn from it and move forward. And the only thing you can do really, to me, with losses is make them purposeful. And how do you make them purposeful? Well, you have to be better from it than had you won the game. So that's the way I'm going to approach it with the team. And so far they haven't done anything but answered the bell whenever I asked them. So I feel confident that we can get that done.
Given what happened tonight, is there anything you feel like in hindsight you maybe should have done or could have done differently after he went down the first time?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. If I would have, that would be irresponsible in the first place, and I shouldn't be in this position.
Given the manner in which he went down today and kind of how it looked similar to how it did yesterday, do you guys feel like maybe you feel confident that you got the correct diagnosis the first time, that it was indeed back and it was a back issue initially?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think that an injury from last week made him fall the same way this week. But yeah, I do not have any, absolutely zero patience for, or will ever put a player in a position for them to be in harm's way. That is not what I'm about at all, and no outcome of a game would ever influence me being irresponsible as the head coach of the football team.
And Mike, what was the reaction you saw from players when they saw him go down?
I got out there pretty quick. I did notice some guys around that were pretty worried about it. I'll tell you this much. If you guys, or if people were ever curious or questioning if Tua is the leader of the team, I think you found out pretty quick. It was a gut punch to a lot of people. I'm just very, very happy that he's, like I said, that he's, that it wasn't anything more. I'm very happy with that, and I just want to get him healthy and right for himself and for the football team, whenever that is.
You mentioned interaction with him on the field, so he was responsive at that point?
Yeah, he was responding. Once I got out there, which was pretty quick, he was conscious. I could just tell by what we're communicating and how he's talking to me that he was in the midst of a concussion for sure. I'm no medical expert, but it was pretty obvious to me that he was just trying to grasp what was going on, what had just happened. There's some little of that foggy nature to it.
Do you feel like something like this has when something like this happens in a game to a player that you're obviously close with the starting quarterback, you feel like it could have a long-term effect on you personally? Is that something you ever think about being involved in the game for so long when you have something like this happen?
Well, I wouldn't say that. I'll never be comfortable with it. It's just not my personality, and I'm pretty emotionally invested in these guys. So it's also part of the game. I don't think it would. It's not something that goes away, but it's not something that's in the forefront of my mind. To answer your question, it's not. I don't think it's something I'd ever get comfortable with. But you know that that it is an unfortunate part of the game. So if I didn't have so many other people depending on me to do my job, maybe it would be hard to get over. But I don't really have that option with regard to the responsibility that I feel for the Miami Dolphins organization and the fan base.
Final question.
Oh, yes. Thanks.